Good evening. Welcome to another super exciting match of round of 32 winners bracket for Link to the Past Randomizer as part of SGL. We are actually kicking off the week already. I can't believe SGL is already here. We have two amazing matchups. In this case, we have Flipheal facing off against Acktheboker. Both runners are undefeated. That's why they are in winners bracket and looking to advance onto the round of 16 and avoiding, of course, their redemption arc for this particular match. I'm Claire Mouse. I'm joined here today by Wallkicks. Wallkicks, are you excited for facing off? So we see Ack and Flipheal and dramatically entering into the room as if he's made his entrance for this race.
I was wondering if there was going to be like some special introduction music to let Flipheal come in, but I guess not. That's okay. Hi, Clear Mouse. Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited. These are two amazing runners, and we should be in for quite a match. You know who else is undefeated?
Who else is undefeated?
Me, because I didn't enter.
That's right. I thought you were supposed to get your top 32 roll any day now. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for it. It's okay. I'm sure the admin team has just forgotten. But it's okay. It's okay. We don't need to talk about that. We need to talk about these two runners because, like I said, this is top 32 winners side. Winner, I believe, moves on to face Obscure Lifeform in the winner's quarter, so this might actually be top 16. I don't know. The loser will go up against Linlin, so a lot on the line here.
Did Uncle just say that this seed is boostless until boots?
He
Uncle,
did.
We have boots. As Ack has actually just demonstrated in picking up a glove right outside of his house, and I guess the Piranha Plant's pipe, that we can already lift things very quickly.
Yeah, I wonder if the uncle knows that we had the boots the entire time.
Maybe he was just tempting us. What? Did we just see a map check already from Ack? Man, Ack is.
We did.
I think I caught a pendant and desert, and then two regular crystals everywhere else.
Can confirm. So this glove clearly not needed. No, of course it's needed. This is is random.
Yeah, of course we have a glove, and desert is of course automatically pendant for us. Yeah, because that's how randomizers work, right?
Always. You're just given everything you need to complete the dungeons that you don't want to do. But early on, this is standard escape. We do have the sword start, so runners who are familiar with NMG kind of have the ability to kind of get settled in, and as well as everyone else. But this is kind of where you see some early execution shine, and we're going to see it from both runners for sure.
Oh yeah, and of course, what better way to be able to start out a seed with boots and sword immediately makes the game so much more comfortable. In this case, so as you mentioned for NMG, good target. A lot of people like to go for is like a sub 6, 555, right around that area. With boots, we can roughly shave off almost like a minute off of that time. So I think we've seen a good amount of, I would say, like 505s, to 510s. Some runners, of course, that are still well and very much alive in the top 32 brackets, likes to try and go for the flat 5 coming out of escape. Execution is paramount here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and both runners kind of having a little bit of difficulty. I don't expect either of them to die, but they've taken a little bit of damage. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how they approach maybe this ball and chain guard. For Flipheal only had a heart and a half. He's got to be a little bit more careful. Yeah. Ack has the additional heart on Flipheal for this.
Yeah, no, as you mentioned, so, even though this is escape, we're like 2 minutes into the game, almost, maybe 3, like a normal, vanilla playthrough, but Ball and Chain on 3 hearts, especially when he does 1 heart of damage to you on green mail is not easy. It looks like he's just gonna actually go for it. Some people like to, if they're a little bit lower in health, like to take like a 1 or even 2 pot strat. We do see in the cell next to Zelda, there are 3 pots where you can actually pick up 1 pot, pick up a heart along the way, and then use that pot to take off half of the ball and chain guard's damage or health.
Yeah, I'd say it's a very, very safe strat, but it does cost a little bit of time. Both runners, though, did a very good job to kind of get in that little sweet spot kind of between the ball and chain guard and his ball and chain as he extends for the hit. So both runners had no problem there.
Yeah, no, and so the fact that we are here in top 32, this is a very high stakes match. Lots of stuff are on the line, as you mentioned earlier. There is a really lucrative cash prize pool waiting for them at the end of this entire tournament, which is actually roughly something like $5,000, which is a lot on the line. And the skill and talent of not only these two runners, but in general, especially although for these two runners, is that they make the ball and chain guard look just so easy. right? I mean, it's just like, oh, it's only 8 slashes. How bad could this be? It's very precise, and things can. If you ever just tried to play this like casually, everything that could go wrong will go wrong for you. And then you really appreciate more because how good these runners are.
Yeah, can confirm that runners make this game look very easy, and it is, excuse me, very much not easy. So what you're seeing is two very high skill runners kind of at their peak.
Oh yeah, and this is only top 32. The rest of the bracket isn't gonna get any easier, but this is actually what we're all here for. Oh, Flipheal actually farming some ropes here, actually getting the whatever the big prize pack, the nice one, with like the pokies and such in the vanilla game. He managed to farm out not only 8 bombs but also a full magic, so it's gonna be nice for him.
What kind of luck is that? He killed like 5 enemies and got 5 drops. I never get that luck. I'm not speaking from experience about tournament races where I've killed 10 enemies and gotten 0 drops.
If you were referring to the main tournament and you ended up killing like everything and you didn't even know what the prize packs were.
I didn't even know what the prize pack was.
You know what? Luckily for SGL, we start with boots. We don't need to try and farm bombs. You just saw Ack bonk his way in here in the back. We need 0 bombs in order to get to the prize here. Ooh. Actually, pretty good loadout here. We do get a little bit of money for Bottle Vendor, but probably that Master Sword is, the thing that our runners mostly care about.
I'm sure those runners also cared about that fake half magic that they also picked up.
Maybe more so for Ack because he didn't spend the time farming the ropes.
Oh, that's true.
That magic drop. Flipheal though, he's all set for magic, so I'm sure he just doesn't care at this point.
That's true. It didn't even impact Flipheal. That's yep.
I was gonna say we did end up picking up the map. Whether or not these runners decided to actually count it out is their prerogative. But we know that in this case it was gonna be an item, and it happens to be just a heart piece.
See, look, it's just like the regular game. We have 4 hearts, sword,
yeah,
totally normal.
I was gonna say Master Sword, right out of Escape. Yeah, that's totally normal. Speaking of NMG, some NMG runners don't. They turn their nose up at the Sank heart. So sometimes they even decide to get out of Escape after only 3 parts. Probably.
I wish I was that good.
Yeah, probably not the norm. I would say for most random runners, or NMG runners for that matter. Flipheal taking actually a little bit more time. Just looks like he is kind of interested in checking out prize pack, resources, bush crab. Nothing really of note though, because we saw some arrows as one of the tree pulls, and bush crabs weren't helping. Looks like, is that a heart piece? Do you see?
Yeah, or a heart piece or a heart container. It was the shape of a heart for sure.
Okay.
It made sense for Flipheal to check Lumberjack. I mean, with the Master Sword already, and obviously we start with boots. The idea of something being at Aga is a little bit more relevant in this mode. And like I said, with that Master Sword, that's already another piece towards that puzzle. But knowing that it's nothing, a little bit of a ease off of Flipheal's mind, won't be as tempted to do Aga. Ack, meanwhile, is going to be farming up some bombs because he hasn't actually picked up any so far. And he's hitting these little bonk rocks right here, which are guaranteed bombs.
Yeah, no, this is something very good game knowledge. The fact that they do have a glove. Also, I've seen some runners pick up like the 50-50 rocks on the right side of as you exit the Lost Woods. It doesn't happen too often just because you don't usually have those gloves. But of course, with starting booths, that is, as you said, good game knowledge to actually know that they're there so you can get yourself some guaranteed bombs.
Yeah, and we're picking up the mitts already.
Yeah, alright. Did we
and
just get Dark World access?
We did, and a bow.
Okay. And a bow. Wow. Okay.
So who's making the call? Who's making the call? Who's going to Dark World right now?
We haven't even seen the rest of Kakariko, and you
don't
just
care.
To head straight up. This is the closest we're gonna get to that portal. By the way.
You have to right here, right now. Come on, Ack.
Right here, right
now. Come on, Flipheal. Let's see it.
Ack looks like he wants to try into the well first. there are 5 more items here that potentially could help Ack out. Looking at he's using his last bomb too, so it's gonna be pretty useful.
See, there's nothing here.
Nothing here so far. You're right. We got a piece of heart. They somehow figured out another. They have 6 heart containers already. They are set for health.
Oh yeah.
Dark World and beyond.
All right, take 2. Go to the Dark World.
Did we just find an ice rod?
Ack is doing it. Ack. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Wow. All right. This is a play from Ack. We're not even gonna explore the rest of Kakariko Village. We are going straight in.
Straight in. I like this play because I mean, if you really think about like, all right, map check real quick. Pendant Thieves, Green Pendant Ice, 5-6 were Pod and I think Meyer. I don't know.
You're much better at these map checks than us,
cool.
than I am. But I did see all the pendants. I can confirm that there was a green pendant in Ice Palace and the Pendant Thieves because, you know, why would you not have Pendant Thieves when you're right here?
Yeah, and to kind of go back as to, you know, this early Village of Outcast play, I mean, you know, Kakariko, if you really think about it, like Kakariko's 5 checks in blinds, 5 checks in the well, and then like maybe 5 checks combined the rest of the way. So Ack has already cleared out a majority of Kakariko. So coming here into the Dark World, he's kind of keeping on top of his, you know, item dent checks, kind of items per minute thought process here.
Yeah, and maybe actually for better or for worse, this is actually going to be, you know, Pendant Thieves, you have even more incentive, in this case, to just, you know, explore the front door, right? Again, another really good, dense checks per minute, you know, type of situation, and then just, you know, see what the situation is, and then just get out.
Yeah, and it looks like Flipheal is going to kind of be following Ack's lead into the Dark World here. So both runners making their early play into Dark World. Again, I like it, but you know, I'm also not the one running, so I can't sit here and tell you what goes through these runners' minds. I believe that was 2 items in the front of.
Yeah, that looked like 2 items. We did a small key, we had a big key, and then we got 2 non-progressive items.
Can I just also poke fun at, you know, Ack always, like, if you ever watch Ack and if he ever has his camera on, he's kind of usually always playing in the dark in his apartment. So you could see like you could see the reflection, or not even the reflection, but you see like the different color of his TV kind of reflected, like his screen
where he is.
Yeah, his camera like shone red for a little bit. I'm like, oh, he's dead, which is kind of funny.
That's right. We got a sneak preview of basically what's gonna happen to Ack, you know, like 2 seconds in the future.
Ack doesn't have any bombs. Oh, Ack has a bomb.
Oh, of course, yeah, no, this is this again, more game knowledge, right? Ack knows where the 50-50 bombs are. Did we just see Flute picked up in the vanilla Vicky chest of Skull Woods?
If you did, that's great, because I didn't. And not saying it wasn't in it, just saying I didn't see it.
No, yeah, so that was definitely something that is going to be really good for Flipheal. That potentially, I'm not sure what Ack's I guess like preferences for you know, front of Skull Woods. I know that certainly some of, you know, some other top 32 runners really push hard the mantra of never skip Skull Woods, and you know, and this today, I mean, that's definitely going to be the case here. That's going to be, especially early on for Flipheal, it's going to be really nice. Not only is it required, of course, Myers of Crystal, but you know, we get fast travel almost immediately, right?
Yeah, and I mean, given how we're in, you know, Village of Outcast so early, I don't mind, you know, I don't mind the play into Skullwoods one way or the other. I think it's good either way. So yeah, Flipheal definitely rewarded for his decisions into Skullwoods. Ack choosing to skip it for now. We'll see if he comes back at some point.
Yeah, this is, you know, normally when you see, especially the early one and only bow, you know, because bows are non-progressive in this seed, and use the Eastern Crystal, you know, very often days it's going to be, you know, normal, you know, conventional routing is to, you know, go clear a crystal dungeon. We are here because we have Dark World access, you know, from the myths that we picked up in Blind's Hideout, also with the Pearl, that we can go straight directly to the Dark World.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, like this flute will help Flipheal route the Light World, you know, much more efficiently than Ack, which is always very good. And plus, you know, we'll be able to pick up the Smith, which Ack has already done. Flipheal will have even more reason to go get that Smith because he'll turn in the Smith as well as activate the flute, maybe even come back and do purple chest at some point. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the runners won't say no to a mirror. Hey,
those are flippers.
Yeah, we have a bottle too. That's gonna be really nice when Ack goes and turns into Smith. You know, we are gonna have to go back to Kakariko. It would have, of course, been a bit more convenient for Ack if he actually gone up Skullwoods to get the flute. But I mean, you know, we saw that it's really close, so it would probably be that big of a time loss.
Yeah, it doesn't appear it's going to be that bad. The flippers are a little interesting considering, you know, the mitts and flippers combo kind of gives us access to the pod area just in a not great way. And one of the things that you kind of like to do when you're running a seed is you do your best to avoid multiple trips to similar areas. So like Ack has already clearly done the South Darkwood area, so the next time, say he doesn't find a hammer, or say the hammer is buried somewhere deeper, maybe even in pod, you've kind of got to go back through the Darkwood again and make that loop or make a different decision. So it's a little interesting seeing how our item layout is, but at the same time, because we've skipped so many Sphere 0 or Sphere 1, whatever you want to call them, checks, there's still a lot that it can be.
Oh yeah. You know, so Flipheal did end up giving us a bit more preview into the South Village of all places that Ack actually hasn't been to. You know, we ended up not seeing anything, you know, like super important. But you know, this is also going to be another one of Ack's opportunities to try and route the seed, you know, more efficiently without that mirror. And you know, as you said, in order to just try and hit, you know, the similar locations, right, in as few number of trips as possible.
Yeah. So super interested to see how this seed is going to play out, because like this opens up so many options for our runners, and we're not even 15 minutes in.
Yeah. Of course, we love early mist Dark World access and late hammer, right? That's how the seeds work apparently when you get Dark World access mits with the no hammer. Yeah, this is also
this is great.
Yeah, also this is probably one of the reasons why our runners are trying to maximize their efficiency. Flipheal might have a little bit easier time just because he does have a little bit earlier access to that flute, but you know, no hammer for Dark World access means that you have the one and only portal that we saw our runners take very early on in Kakariko. And if you want to get to, as you mentioned, some of these other convenient places like, you know, Pod, we would really like to be able to, let's say, take, you know, Flute 5 spot, or, you know, leave from our house and take that Dark World portal, but we're gonna have to need that hammer. So...
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Ack is going to do after this. If he kind of chooses to maybe head back into village or take that village portal, or if we're gonna kind of go back towards Sphere 0 checks and maybe do, you know, South Shore or probably over to Eastern because we have a crystal for it.
Yeah. imagine not going to a crystal dungeon you can fully complete within like the first whatever some number of minutes. Alright. Flipheal is also kind of following in some Ack's footsteps, kind of delivers Smith to do his South Darkwood checks, presumably ending up Pipe Cave, so he's going to go pick up his flippers and bottle, and then, you know, go back to the village and turn in the Smith along with his Sick Kid fetch quest. Ack, though, looks like he is in the Eastern Palace area. The biggest prize looks like we did find was a red boomerang. Ack probably won't say no to a red boomerang, just because that we're not on like the best health situation, even though it is 7 hearts. And we are at a place like Eastern Palace, but you know, it certainly couldn't hurt. And we, you know, Eastern Palace, while it is considered to be the first dungeon game, we still don't have that lamp. And while the lamp is pretty optional, I would say, in terms of getting through dark rooms for runners, it certainly would not hurt to have in Eastern Palace, especially if you're interested in going to the back. Those Igors, if you cannot locate them properly or quickly, they do 1 heart of damage to you every single time they hit you, and they are fast. Alright, Flipheal though, also checking out King's Tomb along the way. Ack found one of 2 green rupees as one of our prizes here in the first chest of Eastern Palace. No hook shot, unfortunately, means that we are going to have to do the map chest, the intended way, which means you have to basically go through a couple more swing transitions in order to get to our prize. So far, this potentially could be actually a nice Eastern Palace layout. We have found 2 items so far, so the hope, of course, is that the next one is going to be a key. Sorry, the big key rather, the only key, and then our last item is going to be in the big chest, so we don't actually have to go to the middle big key chest today. Alright, looks like though Ack, unfortunately, looks like he took a small misstep. Oh, okay. You know what? It's okay, because we've done all 3 items here. in Eastern Palace. And that means that the big key will be in its vanilla location, but that also means that we don't have to get anything from the big key. So whether or not this is going to be hard required for both runners. There's not going to be in this case a will my opponent gamble on the 50-50 in order to avoid in order to try and take the gamble, in order to save a minute in the Eastern Palace. We know that both runners are going to have to get their big key chest out of this vanilla location.
So you're saying the Eastern Big Key is vanilla?
Yes, it was vanilla. Or it
All
is
right.
vanilla. and of course, we actually even found all three, albeit non-progressive items in the front. So we actually are just going to clear out this entire place.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you definitely want to clear dungeons early when you can. Flip was actually holding off on it for a little bit, which is fun because he wants to see where this flute leads. Like, he's kind of following the items kind of early on. You took the mitts over to the Village of Outcasts, which is your Dark World access. You pick up the flute. Well, what do Mitt's flute gives you? It gives you the Mire area. I admittedly did not see what the Mire medallion was. Turns out it was Quake. Our trackers are awesome. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if this leads to nothing, which for now it doesn't, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, of course, with no mirror, but this is going to be really good knowledge. We're so fortunate in this seed in order to buy, in this case, find, purchase our ice rod, 15 minutes into the seed. I mean, that is amazing because one of probably the most common things, sadly, or, the things that you don't want to see in such a high-stakes, high-level competition race is, where is the ice rod? Please let me find it before my opponent, and I don't have to spend 20 minutes searching for it. Right.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So yeah, the early ice rod, especially with the Crystal Tortorok, super nice.
Yes. I mean, it is so surprising after so refreshing in this case in order to see it.
It's so good. So it looks like Flipheal is going to kind of continue on kind of your traditional like early route, which is check the dam, head over, probably do mini Moldarm Cave at this point, because with the flute it's easy to do Aegina's Cave and it's easy to flute over to Ice Cave. So curious to see kind of how this is going to play out. Act taking no problems with the armor sights, picking up crystal number 1.
Yeah, no, the early flute for Flipheal certainly caused a bit of a divergence, and I guess we are curious to see when Ack will decide to go up to the front of Skull Woods. I mean, it is certainly very possible that he would like to delay Skull Woods until he finds a 4-step fire rod, because we know that in this case Skull Woods is a crystal, so Ack has already kind of done like the south part of Dark World. So if he wants to make kind of like a north loop, ideally he would, as you said, especially without the mirror, we only like to visit it just once.
Yeah, and I expect, assuming Ack doesn't find anything of significant value here, when he does go back into the Dark World via Village of Outcasts, it will be that north loop, that into Skull Woods over east to do, Catfish, into probably the Pyramid check into Pod.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least we have the bow this time. Going into Pod, because a dip into Pod without the bow, without the hammer, oh man, also without the mirror is, I don't know.
Yeah, never fun, but we do have a bottle, so we could conceivably potion glitch or, whatever mimic clip if we needed to. So I don't think either runner would have had any issue heading towards Pod if need be. So one thing I did see on Flipheal's side, because he was a little bit frozen, was a Bombos medallion.
Okay, that could potentially be interesting. I mean, so Bombos right now, wall kicks with
Bombos gets us into Ice Palace.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go into green. It's even got the green.
Okay. Hold on, Clear Mouse. Calm down. All right, let's not get too crazy with our rash decisions based on our items. I don't know who would do that.
I mean, you were the one who wanted our runners to go into Dark World after we found the missing pearl in Blind Hut.
Oh yeah, sure. But yeah, the Bombos medallion, flippers, and mitts gets us into Ice Palace without a problem. Not everything is available logically, and obviously no hammer to complete it, but maybe it's because the hammer's in there.
Oh yeah, we love finding hammer in Ice Palace. You know what? It's a good thing this is SGL. We get webcams on our runners. I would love to see how happy their reactions are once they find a hammer in Ice Palace. Pendant Ice Palace, no less.
I mean, I think it depends on when you decide to do it. I mean, if Ack goes straight into Ice Palace right now and finds it, he's probably going to be dancing up and down. That's a shovel. Flipheal, you're going the wrong way, buddy. Without a hook shot, you cannot go across that.
Flipheal was hoping that he would have a hook shot by now, but
You
unfortunately,
know,
that's not the case.
maybe he was thinking like the hook shot was in this chest, so I'm gonna hook shot, and then no, unfortunately it wasn't.
Alright, Acto, is he gonna go to Hobo? Oh!
Oh!
Did you just see where the hammer is?
Hold on a second.
That is actually really interesting. That is locked by not only the flippers, but it's also locked by the mirror.
Yeah, so now
So
we gotta
where's
search
that
out this
mirror?
mirror. Okay. Oh man, that's interesting. That's very good knowledge for Ack. Because for Flipheal, that's kind of in an awkward position. Like, when does Flipheal go and check Lake Hylia Island?
Yeah.
He does have flippers, so I mean, flippers checks are something that are on the table for him, and you likely at that point, if you're going up to Hobo, when you come back, you're checking Hylia Island, and you'll probably see a hammer then. So I don't think it's too serious, but it's something that is of note. Is when will Flipheal pick up that mirror?
Yeah, and you also do bring up a good point. So while both runners, we found flippers pretty early in Hype Cave, right? Flipheal is kind of like at that money spot where he has in Wid's case almost 350. It's kind of like, do you want to wait to see if you get a little bit more money so you can also use Sora at the time? But it's like, that hammer knowledge is actually pretty valuable, right? So
yeah, I suspect if Flipheal is concerned about Zora, he'll probably Houlihan prior to heading to the Zora area, because he is within the range where a Houlihan would give him the money needed.
Yeah, that's true. If you do Houlihan, and of course we have the gloves, right? So we can basically do
Yep.
like the back of the skate version,
Yep.
bomb yourself in there, and that will yield us to 100. So that should. Oh yeah, I'm not supposed to be. Can you do the math, ball kicks? I think you're better at numbers than I am.
225 rupees in Houlihan would put us at 567.
Okay, all right.
Ack, meanwhile,
finding an amazing find actually for just Death Mountain in general, because we actually have now access to everything that we could possibly want here on the mountain. Wow.
Well, I mean, we want access to Tower of Air, and we don't have access to that.
Oh yeah, that's true. We do know where the hammer is. Do you think well, actually, okay. So, all right, the mountain here is in logic, right? Just basically seeing this, because we know that Flipheal found the clue. That hook shot is not in logic because we have no idea where that lamp is.
Correct. So, again, the lamp could be anywhere. Ack isn't going to concern himself with the logic of, oh my god, I need to make sure I find this lamp before I can move on. That's not the race. That's not the kind of race this is. It'd be cool if it was. Not how it goes, though.
It would be cool, really.
I don't know, maybe.
I guess it would be a lamp hunt, right? Because that lamp hunt could also pretty much be in the randomness of places.
A lamp actually here on the mountain would be super telling for Ack, for a number of reasons. One, it would tell him that his flute is his logical way up here. Two, it would tell him that the mirror is your logical way here to East Death Mountain. Yeah,
this cave is red, which is
red.
The best color in my opinion, because Ack is not only wielding that red enough colored sword, he also found the Key of Samaria as well. So this is going to be very comfortable for Ack, soon to be Flipheal, of course, in terms of execution.
Yep, and speaking of doing the Houlihan in order to get Zora money, Flipheal doing Houlihan to get Zora money.
Yeah. Alright, I don't actually know if we entered in with whatever the previous number of rupees is, but 567 actually sounds like a very familiar number that you rattled off, Waltic, so I believe that your math is sound.
I do like to think that sometimes I am okay at math. I know how to add numbers, so at least sometimes.
Well, you do it on the important ones, and not like on GT Big Key guessing game predictions where the number 22 is just not our friend today.
I promise I won't guess 22 this time.
Okay.
Having said that, I didn't guess it last time, and guess where? No, actually, no, I did. I don't remember.
I don't remember, but it was, you know what, hopefully we'll have better luck for our runners today. So Ack ended up actually picking up 300 rupees from the bottom of the Spiral Cave. So he will actually he won't need to, in this case, Cool Hand, in order to get his extra money, if he has Zora on his mind.
Yep, so Flipheal also going to choose to water walk, so he will very likely also see this hammer here momentarily as he chooses to run the long way. I'm sure he saw it.
Yeah, I know. It definitely looked available on the screen. It was only a couple pixels, and I did see a reaction, so potentially Flipheal recognizes that there is something important there.
Okay, that's good.
At least we hope.
I would hope so too.
Yeah, I mean, so SGL, you know, has a history of playing tricks on runners' eyes sometimes. You know, like you get a couple pixels, you think it's something, it's actually not something else, and you know, this is high stakes, right? You know, you're not always part of the tournament experience, especially for these veteran runners, is trying to be able to keep your nerves calm, just play your game, and you know, sometimes you end up forgetting something that is something you don't want to happen, but it certainly has happened, right? In high pressure situations.
Yeah, so hopefully, you know, these runners kind of remember that the hammer's there. We did find out that Turtle Rock is Bombos. It's a little interesting there. Ooh, Silver Arrow is nice. And our other sword.
Dude, did we just
That was
transplant
I was just saying.
into
I was like,
waterfall?
I was like, that's the wrong fairy to have those items.
Alright, so I guess for Ack, you know, he's gonna pick up his 20 rupees there. I'm not sure if maybe he'll recognize that it is gonna be, in this case, we have all 4 swords just readily available for us, but, you know, Silver Arrows with Tempered Sword, with basically, like, one boss down, it's just super comfortable.
I loved Ack's face as he was swimming past the hammer there. He was almost like, I wish I could get this. It's like, I would love to have this item.
If we were playing a different mode, perhaps that hammer would be readily available. But you know, today we're not going to. We're just gonna play. You know, we're just gonna play the game. No major glitches of the randomizer variety.
Yeah. So I'm actually curious to know like when Flipheal is gonna choose to go up the mountain, because like at this point the mountain for Flipheal is the Old Man and Speck Rock, and that's not great. There's not a whole lot going on in there, but you know, he doesn't know that if he goes there, he picks up the hook shot. So could still be a little while before he picks up the hook shot. Of course, the mirror would also lead him in that direction as well. But of course, the mirror also leads him to the hammer. So interesting.
Yeah.
So Clearmaster, where do you think we go next? Actually.
Well, that's actually a good question. I was gonna wait until to see what Flipheal does, and then I'll tell you that he is not gonna rescue the old man. That was a surprise. All right, I was gonna say so. You know, one option, you know, potentially is he could just flute up here, which isn't logic, and rescue the old man at least for saving point. You know, usually that happens. But you know, he's still up here, which is fine. I was gonna say for Ack's sake though, certainly hoping that he does go visit the front of Skull Woods, ideally sooner rather than later. You know, right now it's not the flute's not like blocking him from anything, but you know, having that fast travel, especially in the hands of a very skilled opponent, it certainly can lead to some potential time loss for you.
All right, so Flipheal just flat out ignoring the old man. That's concerning to me, because now it becomes a matter of when do you do the old man? Because we're not coming back to the mountain until we get the mirror at the minimum. But even then, is Flipheal going to be like, all right, time to do the old man, or is he just kind of continue on, you know, and do whatever he normally does on the mountain? So, a little curious to see kind of when Flipheal is able to route in his hook shot.
Speaking of, where is Flipheal going? Is this going to be a potential catfish check? Or are we going to go head on down south? Because we have the flippers, so we can get over here to East Death Mountain.
East Death Mountain.
East Death Dark World. It's a very dangerous place. I mean, Flipheal as a piranha, he's still on, what, green mail? You know, these Rokas do 2 hearts of damage. You know, this is a very defenseless plant. Regardless of how fierce he looks.
Where did Ack pick up the blue mail that Flipheal didn't?
It was in Paradox Cave, in fact.
Oh, all right. Well then,
it was a lower Paradox, I believe. So it wasn't, you know, in the the red, you know, cave basically of wonders.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like Ack though, following the mantra of never skipping Skull Woods, he is.
He's out though.
Yeah. I'm sure he's quite happy with that bounty that he picked up the flute for, so he's going to go straight back and activate it immediately.
Yeah, and you know he's taken a little bit of a gamble by assuming that the second item is either in the back or not important, and we know that he is right on that account because the second item that Flipheal picked up in Skullwoods was just 20 rupees.
Alright, so presumably after this, Ack is going to follow, Flipheal's initial lead after activating the flute, is go check out the mire area, go see what the medallion is, check out Mire Shed. We still don't have anything extra that on Ack's side that Flipheal did when he visited, so it's just going to be potentially a Mire Shed check and medallion, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, in his mind, he's probably thinking he has a decent chance of clearing out Maya right now because he does have the medallion and he does have the Canis Maria. It's going to be a little unfortunate that for Ack that won't be the case. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what his next play is because Flipheal is obviously heading to Pod, which makes sense. But Ice Palace is another option, and Ack might be maybe slightly more tempted to head into Ice Palace, knowing that he has the Canis Maria. And with a little luck, could ice break his way kind of through the dungeon quicker than Flipheal will at this point?
Yeah, no, that's really a good point. That Canis Maria could actually be a very strong incentive for Ack to go into Ice Palace because, as you said, we don't have a hammer, so we are going to at least be limited already. But Canis Maria is going to make it so much faster for you to get through to basically see how far you can get without before getting locked out. And of course, if you find the hammer in there, I mean, you are feeling
you
so
have to find the mirror in there. We know where the that's
right. Yes, that's what I meant.
All right, Ack is choosing Ice Palace.
Is that where we're going? He is.
Yep.
Is he doing something about like following the items because we have the mitts and we have the flippers and we've got the Bombos medallion from what's it place?
I kind of think that's the case. I definitely think we're kind of following the items here a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I say that, and the mitts flippers could just as well be leading to Pod. Like it doesn't. This is only some idea, so it'll be interesting to see who's right because one of these two runners is going to be correct and find the mirror here because I think we've collectively cleared out everything that isn't Pod and Ice Balance at this point.
Yeah. So I mean, at least for our benefit, we have two runners in different dungeons. So this is actually going to be we're going to see in this case who gets their mirror in this case first.
Chat also pointing out that we do also have the back of Thieves Town.
Oh,
but that's just terrible.
The mirror being back there, man, that. Especially if there's the last item in the big chest, right?
Yeah, that would be just unfortunate. Good news for Ack was that he did pick up a small key in the first chest of Ice Palace. So he's kind of able to route this dungeon still very nicely and not have to worry about kind of getting locked right here. Still leaving behind that chest in that room that he was just in, but I don't think he's worried.
Yeah, no, it is hammer locked, and especially with the mirror. Once we get the mirror, we get the hammer. A lot of more things are going to be open to us. For example, where Flipheal is right now. That would be an option for Ack.
Yep, I have seen 2 items already in Ice Palace, so only 1 left.
The good news is that we know that the mirror can't be on Cold Stair.
Can confirm.
Ack is thinking.
I think in his mind he was trying to think what is the best way to approach this, and in his hesitation he made this slower.
Oh, because the idea is that you want to bomb jump over. I guess you.
I mean, he couldn't bomb jump over because he didn't have the small key for it. I think it was just a matter of like, is it better to bomb the floor and drop down, or
I see.
drop down and hookshot over?
So we did find something interesting in Palace of Darkness. We found a fire rod in the middle of the key location.
Ew.
So, but we did get both items out of Skullwoods, right? So that fire rod currently is at least access the back of Skullwoods, but it's just RKB or crystal. That fire rod though has a fire source. What can that open up?
It doesn't give us too much, to be honest. Like when Ack inevitably finds it, and when Flipheal inevitably goes up the mountain and picks up his Canis Maria, they'll be able to full clear Turtle Rock. And at that point, we would be we would essentially be Quake for Go mode by then.
That is an interesting point. Imagine being able to clear out Turtle Rock. Just like being able to just say that. Like having that ability, like not, you know, an hour and 30 into the seat. Feels so nice.
To mention something in chat, Turtle Rock not actually available. We do need the hammer, and the hammer is mirror locked. Oh, there's the Quake medallion. Okay, so
I guess we're going into Meyer.
so yeah, that seems to scream Meyer.
Alright, looks like though after his dip into Ice Palace, are we going to potentially finish up the back of Steve's Town? Or, because we also don't have the hammer still, or the mirror for that matter.
Say yeah, I suspect we're.
Pod dip, right?
Yeah, I suspect this is going towards pod.
Alright, Flipheal does have his red potion that he ended up getting from the light world pyramid fairy place that he ended up throwing in his bottle. Yeah, he is a red potion. He certainly probably wants to death warp out, but he does not want death warp out early before getting everything else here in the back pod.
All right, so is this like this would still be unfortunate for Flipheal if we end up going into Meyer. At least he doesn't know it, because when Ack does it, he's going to be able to clear it in one go. Flipheal is only going in without the Cane of Samaria.
That old man check with the hook shot.
Yeah.
I mean that is this double to the Meyer. I guess it would kind of depend on where the items in the bikini layout is, because you know there are it can be
Flipheal. You know what's happening, dude.
Oh, Flipheal. You know, this is a high stakes tournament. All kicks, you know, things happen. He's thinking probably about 50 other things, right? Like, for example, am I gonna find the cane here in Misery Mire?
Yeah.
That's a good thing. You know, luckily though, this Piranha has a lot of health, and you know, those murdered actors, they do 3 hearts, but it's not gonna be in the world. He can still survive this palace. This Mire, I guess.
Yeah, like it wasn't that bad. It was just so if you cast Quake, like say Quake is to open Misery Mire, you know, Quake doesn't affect enemies that are in the air, which makes sense. So with the Murderodactyl being in the air and he casts Quake, that Murderodactyl just kind of laughed at him as he bombarded Flipheal during the animation.
The fact that there's actually like elemental and whatever horizontal aerial positions in this game is actually, I think, it's actually very clever. It's actually you can use Quake to kill Pangators as well, but they have to be on the ground. They can't be in the air. I thought that was really clever. Yeah,
that's actually something that you don't normally think about until you cast Quake the first time in Pangator Room when everyone's in the air, and then nothing happens, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. One of the few times where actually potentially medallions are actually useful, like not an Randomizer. Oh, Flipheal! Wow, that was so clutch. I thought he was
fine.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's one item already, by the way. Still no mirror. We're maybe not. The answer might not be in Meyer. The answer might actually be in Thieves Town, and that would be absolutely disgusting. Or Purple Chest. Has either ended on Purple Chest?
No, we have not done Purple Chest. You're correct. These options that you listed, Walkie, sound pretty terrible. I'm not really sure which one actually is better, relatively speaking, because they seem so close together in terms of quality. Because mirrorless Purple Chest, while the mirror can very much 100% be in the Purple Chest, is not really something that you're jumping up and down in order to do the scene.
Yeah, so like, it's interesting to see, like, it looks like we're so far away from Go mode, but we're really not. Like, Ack is essentially going to be getting a Go mode hammer.
Speaking of, Ack is putting his tech boots usage to work. He can get this? Oh, really nice job, Ack. That is one of the hardest maneuvers to make in the game. Just sequence broke out. Well, not sequence break. He took a shortcut over to the bullock side. It's in logic because you have the bow, but he did a good job.
That was actually a really sick hover. Like,
It
the,
was
and
fast
as you
too,
mentioned,
by the way, right?
yeah,
Like,
and as you mentioned, that's not an easy one to do. Like, hovering in general, not easy. Hovering that particular area, really difficult. So, kudos to Ack for getting that.
I actually wonder what Ack's favorite dungeon is. I mean, given what he can do in Palace of Darkness, I'm kind of curious to see if he is busy, because I know he can mimic love. You know, we also just saw him put his boost to work in order to, you know, get over to the Bullock side pretty quickly. Hey!
There's the mirror.
There is the mirror for Flipheal. So that is a good find for Flipheal. He can now get over to the mountain.
Yes,
So he will be able to pick up his Canis Maria. I'm not sure how happy he'll be, but you know, we do see that Swamp Palace is a crystal, so we're gonna need that hook shot at some point. Hopefully Flipheal will remember.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is again, this is a little bit unfortunate for Flipheal. Like he's still not in a terrible position, but he kind of needs to beeline the mountain right now, because Ack is gonna be in a hammer go mode scenario. So everything that he does post mirror, or everything that Flipheal is gonna be doing post mirror, is stuff that Ack is gonna be able to skip.
Yeah, no, this is a good point, and the fact that Flipheal, I mean, so Ack, like, because he had the hook shot early off of the old man, which he did sequence break for what it's worth, because you don't have a
Flipheal, you don't have the hammer, dude.
Oh no, he's gonna. Oh, poor. He's
Hey.
like, oh yeah, I need to go get the hammer off of Lake Hylia Island. 1 sec, let me take a detour.
you see the end goal, but you're missing the step along the way.
Yeah, and you can actually see, so Ack's gonna have to do the exact same thing, right? Because where is our only Dark World portal without the hammer? Right here, there. That Flipheal's taking. And so how are we gonna get to Lake Hylia Island? Because we have to be in the Dark World. Well, Flipheal's gonna show us.
Yeah. So bear with me. What if we do AGA 1 for access to the Dark World instead of taking? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, how about we do AGA 1 for that heart potential container that we didn't actually see? It was either heart piece or container.
Fair.
I mean, it could be the difference, right, between life and death for this product plant.
It could be. But to kind of go back to what I was saying earlier, you know, Flipheal's checking whatever graveyard ledge right here.
Whatever this ledge is, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Look, I had to think about it. Ack's going to skip this entirely because again, he has hammer go mode, or he has hammer go mode, and he knows it too at this point, or at least he should, after picking up Quake.
Yeah, after Quake, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
he did his due diligence, I think. Potentially there was an item on Helmus, or I guess maybe it doesn't matter because Ack knows that it doesn't matter. Exactly.
We still don't have the hammer.
Right, exactly. We can't get back there, but I think he just wants to make sure that. Oh, actually no. Then why did he go check that after Quake? What is he?
I mean, he went there after Quake because he hadn't done he hadn't gone over to Dark Maze. So there were still things for him to look for that could have been the mirror. So.
Oh, that's talking about hammer go mode. It was like there was kind of a small detail in that we still need the hammer and the mirror. Ack does not have the mirror quite yet. Looks like though he is back in Skull Woods. I think he did leave an item here, right? Flipheal was the one who got both of them. So this, of course, is very reasonable for Ack because he has Fire Rod now from Pod, so he's going to clear out the rest of Skull Woods.
Yeah, and this is good for Flipheal. Remembering the old man will be picking up the hook shot. And so once he goes over to East Mountain, he'll actually just be in go mode. So this is going to be a super tight race to end, I think.
Yeah, this has been very fast.
Yeah, because Flipheal is going to easily be in go mode before Ack, but Ack is going to have one potentially 2 dungeons on him, and he's not going to have to make this extra climb up the mountain that Flipheal will.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, the biggest difference probably at this point is the fact that Flipheal dipped into Mire without the cane. I mean, once he finds cane here, I hope he doesn't feel too many regrets, and that he could have seen that he could have gotten the cane very early and be able to do Mire in one shot. And
I talked about how Ack wasn't going to be doing things that the Ack would get to kind of go mode a lot of things. His decision to go into Skull Woods prior to Misery Mire is giving Flipheal back some time.
Mm-hmm. Time is something that, oh man, I mean, as you said, this is it's very difficult right now to see what the differential is going to be between our two runners. That was a really nice haircut though, Flipheal, so we're certainly not going to lose too much time for that. Of course, Flipheal here is hoping that he's going to find the King of Samari here. That's why he's still searching. But we, of course, know from Axe screen that it was, in fact, in Paradox Cave, so he'll just have to make his way over eventually. Harapot Hera. Harapot Hera is still pretty fast.
Oh yeah, I mean, Flipheal isn't losing a whole lot of time here, but again, there's so many small things at this point that could swing the race, and because our runners have taken very different routes, be interesting to see kind of who comes up on top, because Ack was clearly, Ack clearly was in a slightly better position early on by going over to East Death Mountain, but Flipheal is going to not touch Ice Palace at all. So all the time that Ack's been in Ice Palace is time that Flipheal will, not have to worry about. So,
no, that's really
just,
good point.
So yeah, I mean, 2 crystals for both owners right then and there. Ack is done here and probably headed over to Mire at this point, which is a dungeon that he will be able to full clear.
Yeah, and of course, Mire is. We did see that Flipheal pulled out the mirror in Compass Chest, which is the one, fire locked side that's right above the cutscene chest. Now, I guess I'm curious to see, as a comparison point, if Ack will kill the Murderdactyl before going in and activating the medallion.
Gotta remember these things in such a tight race, and I mean, and this is important. Winner of this race moves on to a winner's quarters against Obscure Lifeform. Loser not eliminated, but just drops down into the loser bracket, where they will face English Linlin. Who is not English.
Yeah, as you were saying, basically the talent of this tournament and the bracket. So Obscure, I believe, was a bronze medalist, I want to say, from the main tournament earlier this year. Linlin has, I believe, at least across these titles, I mean, very, very formidable randomizer opponents. You don't want to face any of these people. You want to face them, as part of good competition, because you want to play the best of the best, right? I mean, this is what competition and tournaments are about. If you're trying to find opponents that will let you have an easy way into that pretty nice $5,000 prize pool at the very end, you might want to look elsewhere.
I mean, if the game is just going to give me, or if the seating, yeah. Oh, are we hovering this?
I love Ack's focus.
His face.
My God. Dude, that is amazing. Oh, good job, Ack. He has got his hovering face, fingers, feet on. That was really good.
Alright, so Flipheal taking a little bit extra time to do Spiral Cave. A little unfortunate because his go mode is just sitting in Paradox. Ack is, Ack will come back into Mire after clearing out Vidi. So I don't know who's in the lead. This is crazy.
It's hard, right? Yeah, because so Flipheal, he did do the Dark World first in this case, and as you said, he is going to. Looks like it's actually not quite muscle memory, because I think he was pausing whether or not maybe he thought about mirroring or trying to remember which door it is. But he's gonna pick up his cane very shortly, and as you said, Cakes, he is going to be in go mode basically right after this cave. So he's going to be able to dip into Turtle Rock, and he is at least going to be a go mode Turtle Rock. And also even a nuance for Turtle Rock, right? What is go mode Turtle Rock? Do you skip outside? Do you take that chance? That might be
absolutely.
A one-on-one. So it might be a one-on-one opponent. Maybe you always play it safe. Races have certainly been won and lost because of that.
Alright, go mode for Flipheal, and he's noping out, which makes sense because You know why? There's no need to do Turtle Rock right now. You can just save it for when you're going up the mountain to go to GT. So, not a problem. All right,
Yes.
Flipheal and go. So we have to rush Pod, rush Swamp, rush Skull, rush Mire, and Turtle Rock. That's a lot. That's a lot.
We're rushing. You know, well, it's a good thing we have boots because we can go fast with boots. That's the only way to rush. Flipheal, I guess remembering he could take this one Dark Hole portal.
he's had access to this portal this entire season, and he's like, nah. He's like, I got the hammer. Nah, other way.
No. That's well, he wants to use the hammer. I mean, when you pick up the hammer so late, it's like you want to get some value out of it, right? So why take the Mit's way that we've taken all along? We want some variety in our randomizer seed.
Alright, Actor's gonna head over in this direction. Gonna lose him a little bit of time, and again, I mean, because they've taken such different routes, it's hard to really tell who's in the lead. But with Flip being in go mode, Act not far from being in go mode. These are seconds. You really can't afford to give up if you're either runner.
Yeah, so Ack is, well, he doesn't have to do the vanilla cutscene chest, which is certainly going to be a benefit, but looks like he is actually going to get his mirror on one of the last checks here in Misery Mire. By that time, you know, Flipheal pretty much will have Molecule taken down. So, you know, as we said, this is going to be pretty close, because both runners at this point will have, what, 3 crystals to their name? And then it's just going to be a go mode the rest of the dungeons, right? Go mode swamps could be very fast. They just have to basically go to the back of Pod for both of them, and then it's what a difference then between Hera and Skull or something?
Pretty.
Or Mire for them?
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, this is super close. Ack is unfortunately gonna, like you mentioned, kind of make this mirror his pseudo last check here. So again, gonna be losing a little bit of time.
Alright, Flipheal takes down Mocula, Tempered Sword. Certainly going to be some of the very comfortable fights. So that is Flipheal's 3rd crystal. 4 more to go for him, but most of these dungeons are going to be pretty fast. Kind of makes you wonder where that lamp is, huh?
Right? Who knows? Given what we know, like I feel like it's entirely possible that it's just sitting in Turtle Rock.
That's true. Yeah, we did have access to it. Cadence Mario was right up there on the mountain. Oh no, Net can't be there. Actually, because it's let's say Hookshot was locked by the lamp, right?
Hookshot was, but we still have access to East
right.
Mountain.
That's right. We have access to Maya. That's right.
Yeah. All right, so this is kind of like the last little time sink that Ack has to do, which is go get the hammer. So it's going to kind of come down to what is faster. This run over to get the hammer plus Hera or Misery Mire in terms of who comes out ahead on this.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, there is still going to be a bit of a variance. So in this case, for Ack's sake, he is not going to have to check Graveyard Ledge. I think that was an accident, maybe, of using that red potion that he didn't mean to.
Whoops.
But for Flipheal, though, I was gonna say, so it depends on, I guess, how comfortable he is with that Mire Dark Room. You know, for all we know, we're just never gonna find that lamp. So we do still have to get through Mire Basement. While these runners are both very accustomed to dark rooms, you know, especially, you know, I have every confidence that they're going to be able to do a good job. You know, it is depending on, you know, how things go, right? Things can always go awry in Dark Basement if you can't see.
Alright, so that is go mode for Ack. And we're off. Oh, Ack is going to stop for a potion first.
Yes, because I believe that was a unintentional use of that red potion. Unless he was just, you know, thinking way ahead that he just really wanted a blue potion instead.
Alright, where is Ack's first stop?
Looks like, just like Flipheal, we are going into Swamp Palace.
Alright.
Man, we are. So actually, how far is Ack basically behind Flipheal going into Swamp? That might be a little bit more telling about what the time differential here is.
I still don't think it is. I mean, it's essentially half a dungeon at this point.
It's half a go mode swamp, right? So basically,
Yeah,
Flipheal's
it's
at the front of swamp, maybe. No, Flipheal's already to the back by the time Ack basically gets into Swamp Palace.
right. Yeah, he's. Man, this is so close.
And this is actually kind of great that certainly like it would be really nice to see just because it right now is basically a battle execution, right? Your
Yeah,
items were basically more or less on your way, give or take, right? There wasn't a real big hunt. We found the ice rod very early on for bottle minerals, so long as you had the money, which the game definitely gave you. You were able to afford it. The medallions, you were kind of like funneled into pod almost, right? So you basically picked up your quick medallion. Bombos was super early, so like you had all the stuff for you, and now it's just can you execute and play well for the rest of the game?
yeah. So I think we'll kind of see who's in the lead as to on how early Ack gets back up the mountain before Flipheal does. If Flipheal is probably within 30 seconds of Ack going up the mountain, I'd say Flipheal has a lead. Because Flipheal has Tower of Hera done, Ack has to combo Pod Hera. Or not Pod, excuse me, Turtle Rock Hera.
Yeah.
So I think once we start heading up the mountain, I think that's kind of where we will see who is in the lead.
Yeah, that's true. Because as you did mention, so Flipheal does have to go back to Meyer, which in order to take down the boss. And then he's gonna make both these runs are basically just make one more trip up the mountain, right?
Yeah.
So and Ack unfortunately has more stuff to do on the mountain. So Ack needs like a fairly, I don't want to say comfortable, but he does need a good amount of buffer between him and when Flipheal is there.
I'd say he needs about a minute. If he is
Okay.
up the mountain about a minute before Flipheal, I'd say, if it's exactly a minute, then I'd say they're about even. If it's like a minute 30, I think he's got a slight lead, but nothing that a GT route can't fix.
Oh yeah, that's actually a good point. So we also don't know what routes these runners would either their preferences, I'm not even sure like what they if they have any historical tendencies or anything like that. But this is also a 1v1. We've certainly seen runners switch out their GT routing based on their opponent, or where they think where they are in the state of the match.
All right, Ack making quick work of Argus. Meanwhile, Flipple is just kind of rushing straight to Viddy. We talked about it earlier about how Flipple was going to have to double dip this dungeon, but we're seeing here how it's not the worst thing in the world, because the items in Misery Mire are kind of all spread out kind of along the east and west side of the dungeon, as opposed to the boss, which is just kind of essentially a straight shot. But here's a little bit of an issue for Flipple is the lack of a lamp. So he's going to be taking a little bit of time here doing this.
Yeah, and he's getting through these dark rooms, looks like relatively well. Alright, doesn't have to hit the first switch at least because he just went straight to the back.
So actually, the Flipheal, I'm assuming, is going to do pod after this. Of course he is, because that's his last mountain dungeon. So Ack got into the Dark World portal there at about 1 hour, 1 minute, and 22 seconds. When Flipheal does, that'll kind of be an indication as to how far ahead or how close they are. Flipheal's having trouble here in Dark.
Yeah, so he realized too late that he didn't have to hit the first switch because he just went straight to the back, and so he hit the switch, and then he's like, oh no, I can't move further, so let me go back and hit the switch again. And then there were some unfortunate fireballs that kind of got in his way.
Yeah, so he's got to be careful. I would still almost want to pop this blue potion just in case.
We are still on Oh no, we do have blue mail for now. That's right, because we went to Paradox. We don't have a safety though. Man, this is alright. Flipheal's gonna take a chance. Silver should be relatively safe, just as long as the eyeballs don't like really charge at you.
Yeah, he was fine. He definitely stayed a little bit farther back than I think you see some runners do with silvers. Some silvers just loved. There's some people with silvers and Vidi love to just get right up in the face, and as you mentioned, the eyes were not moving.
Yeah, sometimes the eyes are the by far the most dangerous part because they there's a reason why you see a lot of people with like MG strats, right, take the damage from the slime, which is one part, right, and then use the iframe sort of try and spin out the eyes because eyes I believe do 4 hearts in green mail. Surprisingly, the lightning that the big eye shoots out only does 2 hearts of damage. I think with blue mail, the Flipheal actually would have been able to take a hit.
I think so, yeah. So Flipheal got into this portal almost exactly 2 minutes after Ack did. So there's a 2-minute difference that Ack will essentially have when he goes up the mountain, which I think gives him a little bit of a lead.
It is so super close though, because we still don't know where the big key in GT is. We don't.
Oh
know
yeah,
what
this
route.
is
Yeah,
this is still entirely within GT routing for sure.
Yeah, and I also like Gomo Turtle Rock. I think also might depend on what runner's tendencies are. I mean, so you said earlier though that you'd always just get the outside, right? I think we've also seen actually Lynn, the person who's gonna play the loser of this match. Actually, I believe during his race, actually he skipped the outside and hit the 4% basically. Ended up having to do it all over again. So like these things can happen, right? It depends on how conservative or aggressive you want to be, or if you know your opponent well enough and you can try and figure out like what they would do, right? That can also be another factor.
Yeah, it'll be super interesting kind of to see how what they choose. Obviously, if you have like a vanilla big key in Turtle Rock, I think you just you have to go outside and do the big chest, just because you're a fool if you're not.
You know what? We're gonna see how many fools we have today here on stream. But yeah, it's I would certainly expect them to go outside if that's the case. Alright, Flipheal though gonna tackle on another dark room. Dark Turtles, unfortunately, is also can be pretty challenging, but unlike Dark Mire, we have Fire Rock, and that will actually help us because there are torches in that room.
Absolutely.
Game developers.
Do you think the game developers ever realized that we were just going to be in rando? Flipheal saying, "I don't need no stinking torch."
He
does
did well.
Pretty well. I was saying,
he did
overall
well.
pretty well. I don't know if he looked too pleased with how that went, but I think that went just fine for him.
I mean, the fact that he actually managed to kill all the turtles, like, and not have things go terribly, terribly wrong, is definitely a win. I mean, oftentimes what happens is you try and kill the turtles in like the normal, quote-unquote like NMG version, right? You walk down, hammer, do some spins, and then try and get like the last 2. But like turtles don't always have to, behave, right? The last 2 or 1 or 3, whatever, can just scatter, and then it's not like they like sleep like the Igors do. Like they just keep charging at you, so you sometimes don't know like where any of them are.
Please be careful and do not quick swap to mirror.
That's a good idea.
Alright, that is 6 crystals for Flipheal. We're going up the mountain. I think Flipheal lost a little bit of time to Ack in their pod clears. I think Ack's lead is just ever so slightly widening.
This is what it takes in this case for a high execution battle. Flipheal,
Oh, we're gone.
So we're back to Flipheal's chair, which I believe, was his grand entrance, before we were so suddenly, greeted by him at the very beginning of the race. I hope everything is okay.
We're back. All right. Well, that's, sometimes life happens. Can't do much about that, unfortunately.
That is certainly true.
But does lose precious time to Ack here in this scenario.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like either we're watching these guys, right? And it is very, very tight from our perspective, you know, from Flipheal and Axe perspective. I mean, I guess I don't know, like, what they're potentially even thinking on the seed, right? Are they worried, you know, that they maybe did too much because everything's just kind of on the way, right? Like, Misery Mire routing also could have been a thing, right? Because Ack, you know, as we saw, basically kind of made the mirror one of his last checks, right? You
Yeah,
know, all
definitely.
of these little things could add up. It's like, you know, if I did this, you know, maybe I would save a little bit more time here. Maybe, you know, if I, you know, maybe Ack is also regretting his decision to go into Ice Palace early because he didn't find anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like I don't know how either runner kind of feels in their situation. You know, Ack, like you said, dipped Pendant Ice Palace for nothing. Flipheal was, you know, Flipheal double dip Misery Mire. So it's interesting to see kind of how this is getting played out.
Hey, we have a Manila Bicky chest, or Bicky. We have a Manila Bicky in the Bicky chest.
All right.
Alright, so looks like most likely no diversions here in terms of Turtle Rock
No.
mode.
And that's good news for, I'd say, Ack.
Yeah, right now, because at least Ack is pretty far along into Turtle Rock, you know, he basically just wants to basically, you know, grow his lead at this point. And so he doesn't want any more variants, right? Like if
Correct.
Ack were behind, you know, he might actually want to try and introduce something. But in this case, because it looks like Ack is, you know, has a slight edge, he doesn't want to try and give that edge up, you know, due to randomness.
Yeah, and he's gonna, you know, he's still gonna lose a little bit of time to Flipheal, given the fact that Flipheal already has Tower Hera done. So, you know, any advantage that Ack has moving forward, he is gonna want to do his best to try to keep.
Yeah.
But I still think 100% this is within a GT routing decision. Say,
oh, for sure, for sure.
someone does Hope left and someone DMs, and it chooses, and it turns out that the big key's in Compass Room or something.
There's also like the climb, right?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
and
nothing's ever gone wrong in like the gauntlet or anything. Right?
Never, no, yeah. I mean, yeah, we talk about the variants that, you know, the GT basement can provide, but you know, you've got to keep your execution up through the climb, and that's, you know, the nerves are there. This is a cash tournament, and a lot is on the line. You know, every time you kind of are farther along in the tournament, the nerves have to go up a little bit more, because then it's like, oh man, I am in a bigger money situation, and I could be making more money if I don't screw up, and that leads to a lot of mistakes usually.
Yeah, because you have so many. The more what if, the more oh man type of moments that you have, it just takes away your focus from that more. That was a really nice first key, by the way, on Laser Bridge.
You love to see it.
Alright, Ack unfortunately does get a little bit of bodied by that switch hit, but at least it didn't damage boost him off of the switch, so he's going to come up to try next momentarily. Alright, not gonna opt to do the backdoor stress, just gonna do the normal front. Should be hopefully mostly straightforward. Already got the ice head down. Fire head down. I know colors, don't worry.
I believe in you. All right, Axe got to be a little bit careful here. That head will kill him.
Yes, the head actually does 3 hearts of damage. 4 hearts of damage to green mail, but he does a blue mail. But of course, he only has 3 hearts, so can't really take another hit in this case. Looks like he is going to be slightly less aggressive, right? He doesn't want to try and risk an extra nudge. You know, just going to keep his distance and, you know, what, 1 to 2 to maybe 3 seconds saved here, right, is much, much better than losing like a minute and a half, basically, or whatever it is to come back here.
Like, I don't even think it would have been a second. I think it would have been, you know, at most maybe 6 to 7 tenths of a second.
Okay, yeah, it is something super minuscule, right?
Yeah.
I mean, definitely not going to be worth like the minute or whatever scale that you're going to have to compare to.
All right, so this is going to kind of be, this is where Flipheal will make up the most time, because again, Ack has to do Tower of Hera, but it's likely that Ack is going to be finished with Hera and probably into GT before Flipheal is done with Trinix. Trinix is a long boss. Like, you might not think it, because, you know, you're kind of rushing through, but not only does the 2 heads have to explode, and then he's got to go into a shell that explodes, which takes a while. and then the rest of the boss has to explode. Like there's a lot of exploding animations in Trinex that actually take up a decent chunk of time.
It's something that you're right though. Like it's something that you don't really think about. You know, just because you think like, oh, it's just like everyone has to go sit through this, right? But Trinex also, yeah, like in this particular case, even though both runners have to go through it, I mean, we are actually looking at absolute time here, right, between Flipheal and Ack, and you really don't want to sit through those particular cuts, and they're basic cutscenes. Looks like Flipheal.
I wonder if Flip had a little bit of difficulty in that maze.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was that smooth, I guess, but of course we couldn't really see anything, so.
He's playing it safe, which is reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, he knows that there's also like a big magic refill, where everyone that's played this game a million times and knows that there's a magic refill. So if you're
Clear mouse, 7 crystals, GT, go.
What? Oh, yeah, we need to do something. 1 through 22. Where do you think that GT Big Key is on Axe side? Because we are headed there in about 5 seconds. So our guess is what? Not 22, right?
Hey, we're there. No, it's gonna be 11.
11. Okay, sounds good. Is that just because you saw 11 in chat and then you just wanted to?
No, I didn't actually. I quickly was like, what's half of 22? And I'm like, cool.
Oh my!
You're going there.
You're doing division too. You know, we only do like addition and maybe some subtraction on the stream, but did you just like pull out like?
Don't ask me to do any multiplication. I can't tell. No, I can't do that.
All right, Ack is going right side home room first. Small key means we are potentially going over to the compass chest, which we just found a compass in the second chest.
Yep. He should probably be finished with compass room before Flipheal enters GT. So this is going to be, if Flipheal chooses to go left and say the big key is in, say, Stalfos room, he tightens this race up a lot. So I still don't know. Like I think
that is amazing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this should still be Ack's race, regardless of the route that Flipheal takes. But Flipheal could definitely make it much closer at this point.
What a battle of execution here. I mean, both runners just basically hit go mode super early. Well, not super early, right? But I mean, like they were able to go mode 4 dungeons at this point.
Yeah.
And now is it is a GT climb, basically. You are very correct in your prediction, Wall Kicks. So Ack just basically finished on compass side, and here we are. Flipheal is just entering GT.
Yeah, I mean, Flipheal's still gonna go do Hope Room first. I'm assuming he doesn't DM route, which he's not. So now it just becomes, does Flipheal go to Compass Room? And if he does, you gotta imagine Ack is in a very good position. I mean, Ack is still already in a good position, but it looks like Flipheal's doing Compass Room, and that's gonna put him just a little bit too far behind at this point.
So far, at least, right? We still have the whole climb. I will say that though these runners look pretty comfortable in terms of art. So no big key means that there was not going to be a swing if Flipheal decided to head over to Southeast first. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like their loadout though, I believe both runners still have a potion, right? No one used their blue or whatever else they bought, and they have blue mail, they have temper sword, they have silvers. We don't think it's gonna be too bad, but it's still GT. Many runs have died.
Many runs have died. Yeah.
On the end game.
All right, there's the mirror from Flipheal, meaning he is following the same path as Ack is, which again just gives Ack that advantage at this point. But still no big key, so still definitely time for Flipheal to catch up a little bit.
No, Ack, come back. We want to see what's in Rando Room. How can we count otherwise?
We'll never know.
I guess we'll know. Oh, we're back.
We're back. You said back. we both said something. Oh no, it was in one of those 2 chests.
I'm hoping that it was the bottom one because it looked like he appeared right after opening that one.
Yeah, he definitely opened all 4.
Yeah, and I assume that he would not have opened the 4th chest if he already found it in the 3rd chest.
Alright, so that means it was a number.
It was indeed a number. I believe it was a number between 1 and 22. Exclusive, by the way. It was not 1 or 22.
I think it might have been 17. Assuming if it was the final chest. If it was the second to last chest, it'd be 16.
Okay. Because there would have been 1 on...
Because it would have been Bob chest, the 3 in the back,
chest,
and tower.
right. Oh no, Ack. He's
Ack,
getting bullied
please.
by the spikes, which the blue mail does nothing against them. Alright, Ack does need to be a bit careful. He is on 3.5 hearts. He does have blue mail, which is a little bit least of a comfort, better than green mail, but you know, chances are I think he probably doesn't want to use his potion until he, you know, unless he like really needs it.
Yeah, because our only safety at this point is Kane and Burna, and that's just not the best safety when it comes to both climbing and Ganon. So yeah, it turns out the big key was the bottom right, so check number 16.
Yeah. So Ack is having actually a really good
17.
moments. He is a master archer. Every single one of those wooden arrows landed on the Stalfos. That was amazing. That got lit. Flipheal though, continuing his, or basically starting up his climb now. So actually, do you know in this case if, I wish you had the times in this case when they decided to enter Upper GT. Like, do you know if Flipheal's basically like further behind Ack, or Ack pulled out a little bit more ahead, or Flipheal kind of made up some time?
I mean, we've been kind of timing it based on the fact that Flipheal had Hera done compared to when Ack didn't. Like, I haven't been timing Ack's compared times basically since they left TR.
Oh, okay.
So I admittedly don't know if Flipheal has made up any time so far in GT compared to Ack.
So, oh, actually, interesting thing to note also, you know, the fact that Ack does have a blue potion, we have no plan. I think he really wants to potentially save his magic, or at least use the blue potion in case he needs some more magic.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be that big of a deal because we do have Silver Arrow, so regardless,
Yep.
Ganon isn't going to be, we're not concerned about our magic use for the Ganon fight. But yeah, holding on to the blue potion is always good.
Ack is 1 Moldorm, 3 Agas, and 1 Ganon away. And a bridge crossing. Oh my gosh! Moldorm was really gunning for Ack there.
Little surprised Ack chose not to hover this, considering he's hovered literally everything.
That is true, actually. Ack has really put on his hovering shoes. He managed to hover basically he did the hardest hover, which was in pod, in order to get to the Bollock side much faster. He hovered the mire gap for the bridge because the key was in the bridge chest. And I mean, I guess he didn't have to hover hook shot because he had a hook shot.
Yeah. Alright.
Unfortunately, Aga's not playing super nice. Got 1 blue ball.
When does Aga ever play nice?
No. Ag needs his like hovering face against Aga too, because maybe then he'll actually have like like he'll just have like an amazing fight at that point.
That was a very nice sixth hit though, so props to Ag there. Alright, so we are in the realm of territory that basically Ack needs to make a mistake in order for Flipheal to come back. Again, not impossible, but given the execution of both of these runners, it would be, you know, you don't expect that to happen. But again, it happens.
Tournament nerves are a thing, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Honestly, like, I think to some extent, like, the rest of us are kind of spoiled in a sense, where, you know, it's like, you just expect, you know, everyone to, like, always get the 1-1, right? Like, nothing ever bad, like, happens on Ganon, and, you know, sometimes it doesn't always happen.
I mean, speaking of 1-on-1, Ack had no problem getting the 1-on-1 there.
That's what he is. He just needs Ganon to stay still for this phase. Hopefully, it doesn't move too much. At least for what it's worth, you know, it is the same. It's going to be the same number of warps between Ack and Flipheal, so this is at least not going to be too different. You won't lose or win a race based on the number of different Ganon warps. But of course, we still just want him to stay still anyway, right? So we can get through the seed faster.
Yeah. All right, 1 silver arrow. Setting himself up. This could be a triple.
Very nicely done, Ack. That was a very nice triple. He is waiting for this fanfare. He is holding up his sword. Get your G's out in chat for Acktheboker, who is, once he crosses this, going to finish first place. Moving on to the round of 16 winners brackets. GG's, Ack. Congratulations on a well-played seed.
I think winners quarters were actually top 8.
This is 16, right? Because he just made the 32. Or
well,
yeah, this is the round of 32. Like yeah. Everybody, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they're gonna be. Oh my gosh, dude.
We're also joined now by Acktheboker. Hello, Ack. GG's. Ack, do you know what round you're now in? We're talking about it here.
Yo, GG's, Ack.
Hi, I'm Ack. That's all I know.
Oh, okay. Hi, Ack. You play Rando?
My file name says hi, I'm Ack. Do I have to answer any other questions?
Are you a hoverer, Ack, or are you not a hoverer?
Yeah, I guess it's like I think that's the first time I've ever gotten the pod hover in that seat, and then I was having a mental breakdown at how hilarious it was that after I did it, I'm like, I have no mirror, I have no hammer. Like, what's the point? What's the point, dude?
Real quick, Flipheal also. Yeah, real quick, Flipheal also taking out Ganon. GG's in chat for Flipheal. This was a close race, a lot of divergence. It was super exciting to see just kind of when you guys were finally beginning to sync back up, like how the difference is. So very nicely done for both of you guys, and hopefully Flipheal will be able to join us here momentarily.
Yeah, I can only imagine. In the race room prior, he told me what his go mode was, and I was like, what? It blew my brain. But it made perfect sense, but everything came so hot and heavy this seed, man. I was stressed.
I mean, considering like once you guys both saw the hammer, it wasn't necessarily a search for the hammer, it became a search for the mirror. And for you, like that ended up being essentially your go mode, because you had chosen to go up the mountain and you saved the old man, getting you your hook shot. Flipheal, who we are joined by, GG's Flipheal.
GG's Flipheal. Very
GG, man.
well raced. If you're saying something, we cannot hear you, but don't fret too much. Take your time.
Hey.
Yo, how's it going? GG's. So, any, I guess, like thoughts about the way that in this case you approached the seed? I guess at least I was pretty curious about the decision to not rescue the old man the first time you were up the mountain, and then you kind of like delayed that decision until later.
Well, so for that, it wasn't in logic yet, and I had a lot of items from go mode. Like I don't know. It's just I didn't like even when I got the hook shot when I did it later, I was not expecting that. It's just I don't know. Like I wanted to stay in logic because I figured my mirror wasn't on there. But then like once I finally got my mirror and hammer, I was like, when I went back up the mountain, I was like, I can't skip it this time because like I said, I don't know like when Ack would do it if he does it. So that's just pretty much how that was. Yeah, this was an interesting seed. We apparently went different routes totally.
Yeah, you got the flute much earlier than Ack did. Ack, I was going to ask you, kind of when you picked at that flute, did it kind of maybe ring some concerning bells in your mind that like, oh, maybe my opponent had this early? Because you both made the play that I was hoping you would both make, which was go to Dark World immediately after Kakariko.
I was not feeling good towards the end because in my head I felt like the deal breaker between us would have been like, who went the pod first necessarily. Mm-hmm. So when he told me that it was Hookshot Kane, like that made perfect sense because he had flute earlier, but I was never going to piece out that would be something that would like stump somebody, given like how I did the seed. So I was thinking like I was pretty much maybe toasted, unless, he did ice, or maybe he did Back of Thieves. And then there was also like the weird case that for some reason, whenever I got the Zora, I wouldn't have had enough money to go to pod, and I actually like went down and got that 300 because I'm like, man, this could get really nasty early. So I was thinking maybe he wouldn't have had money for pod, but like I did not think that like hookshot was one of my outs. No.
Yeah, you both like. I hope you both take the opportunity to to watch this back, because again, just watching you both go essentially in entirely different directions was really fun and really exciting.
Did you guys like know where all the items were? Like, what, 20 minutes in or something?
I mean,
kind of.
yeah.
We're all looking for that mirror, but other than that, yeah.
And I mean, overall, like the seed was, for the hammer being where it was, the seed kind of played out relatively nice overall, I think. Because again, for Act, that was your go mode, and for Flipheal, once you did pick up the hammer, it was just kind of going to the mountain and picking up the rest of the things you needed. So you guys both played the seed, I thought, extremely well.
Did Flipheal, did you manage to do all of East Death Mountain like before the hookshot?
I actually did the Dark World first. Yeah, kind of sucked.
Okay. Yeah, because if you had hammer, you just go up there, then you cross over.
Yeah, I did the top route. I don't know why. I guess because Hera was a crystal, so I did that first. And then while I was up there, I was like, might as well see what this medallion is from here. And then, yeah, did the top stuff into the light.
Right. And then after that, when you got Kane, is that when you went to...
I was pretty much just dungeon cleanup at that point. I forget the order. I might have did Swamp first and Pod, or...
Oh.
I forget the order I did it in.
When he went back to the mountain, he did Old Man first, so he did have the hookshot before going over to East Death Mountain. I think that's...
he did have the hookshot before. Okay,
yeah.
That's what I was curious about. Yeah, because, I mean, I guess that wouldn't necessarily be too bad with that TR, but then you kind of, like, start getting stuck into doing a lot of other things.
Right, but no, it all worked out in the end. Like I said, this was super close race.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So for Act, you're moving on the winner's side. I believe your next opponent is Obscure Lifeform. Initial thoughts on that matchup?
God help me. I'm most certainly looking forward to the matchup.
It is. I mean, everyone was already pretty good here in top 128. The competition doesn't matter if you're winners bracket or losers bracket. It doesn't get any easier from here. So.
I can be 100% honest. I did not know who I would have been facing, win or lose, probably until like 90 minutes before this race started, because someone told me, and that was intentional. I'm legit trying to like keep the blinders on and not look around me, because I know that I'm not gonna like what I see. So
Sure.
I'm just trying to look for it.
That's a good strategy. I like that.
As long as you
apologies.
schedule your matches, to make like admins happy, I think that's all good. You don't have to know.
Hey, I figure if Dainty or Herfy don't ping me, then that's on them. They've been pinging everyone. They've been doing a good job. I get cold sweats whenever I see that little, ping notification on the SpeedGaming Live Discord, because I'm like, oh God, who is it?
Just ever go through your head, God, what did I do?
Oh no.
As long as you didn't miss commentary, you're all good, Ak. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah, I guess I've been surprised by one or two of those too.
I got the ping last night from Dante, and I'm like, I saw it, I'm like, did I miss comms today? I was like, oh God. I know the feeling. For Flipheal, though, you're not out of this tournament yet, but you still have the opportunity. Your next opponent, do you want to know?
When I finish, I've seen who I'm playing it.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, you were going up against, I believe, Lynn. So, what are your thoughts on facing Lynn?
Oh God. Lynn is so...
Yo, I had that same reaction.
Would you like to challenge Lynn to cross keys? Maybe you'll feel better after that.
No. I have maybe a fighting shot in a mode like this.
So I mean, you know, and this is randomizer, right? You know, it's there are certainly going to be like favorites, you know, for different people, you know, based on their opinions. But you know, at the end of the day, it's randomizer. Things are going to be placed randomly. You know, it doesn't always have to favor, in this case, the quote unquote better player. So.
Yeah, and so far, you know, I'm happy where I got, honestly. Like last year, I did do SGL, but I couldn't win a single game in groups. So you know, making it this far feels good. So, chugging along in bracket as long as I can.
Who was in your group last year, if you remember? If you want to share.
Fear Agent, Kern,
Oh.
Relkin, and Tepidino.
Oh, so you had the champion in your group. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that sucks.
All these.
That was an exciting race too. Required double dip of Green Pendant Swamp Palace.
Yeah,
Oh,
we never
God.
forget our. We don't forget any of these races that, you know, that touch us in a place we shouldn't mention.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Thanks, Zach.
at least thanks to Kern, I learned how to bounce after that race. So I guess
Oh,
it was
nice.
good learning.
See, I mean, so you were being very constructive about things, right?
Exactly.
You definitely got something out of your experiences. And here you are, next year, right? SGL, you've made it to what is it, like losers bracket round 2 in SGL, basically for top 32. Which is very impressive.
All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap up for the evening?
Oh no, man! Thank you for restreaming commentary. Thank you, Scott, for tracking today as well, man. I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah,
Thank
everything
you,
you
Zach,
said.
for racing.
Yeah, and you know, good luck in the track.
Yeah, good luck to you as well. Moving on, man.
Yeah, and of course, always thanks to you, Flipheal, for you know, for racing. I mean, this was a really good race. You know, I don't know how, like, what your tendency was for watch the race back, but it was a very good one. So
Heck yes.
yeah, very very good execution from both of you. So it was certainly very pleasure to be able to watch this. You guys are very talented, and certainly best of luck to you both moving forward. Looking forward to your next races.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, be sure to give both these runners a follow. We'd like to thank Scott for tracking, as Ack said, being very awesome. And as always, Clear Mouse, thank you, and it is always a pleasure doing commentary with you.
Of course, yes, definitely looking forward to the next time. Appreciate you also joining me here in commentary. Yeah, and actually, I don't know if we actually have any more matches tonight for SGL. Looks like though, at least on the schedule for tomorrow morning, if you are awake, on SpeedGaming here at 7:20 Eastern AM. There's another winners bracket top 32 match, Gem versus Schultzer. Two names you might have also heard of in the Reno community if you've been racing for, you know, any amount of time. So that should be that should be a good race. I think it's like there's also another one on the schedule, 3:20 p.m. It's Hitsu versus Hayfield. That also is a very crazily good matchup. So yeah, talent is like in no shortage here. Basically everything. So lots of rando. So definitely keep watching and have a good rest of the evening.